First chapter previous chapter. Join me on Patreon for early access. Read up to 6 weeks, 30 chapters, ahead. Free members get 5 advanced chapters. Veris intertwined her fingers with mine, then she tapped her middle finger onto my palm in a signal that told me she wanted us to move over to the side and have a conversation about something that was going on here. There was an awful lot that was going on here, of course. I figured the sidebar she wanted to have had everything to do with what was going on with Olsen and the spider. Excuse me for a moment, I said. I have to consult with my combat intelligence and Veris about the current state of affairs. Of course, Captain, Olsen said. Now wait a moment, the spider said. But I turned away from them without acknowledging what she'd just said. She was a subordinate now. She was honestly lucky she was still alive, though I was also glad the troops at my beck and call hadn't accidentally blasted her brains out. That would have been awkward if we did that in the middle of a linking. So what would have happened if she'd been killed while they were in the middle of forming a battle pair? I asked. Typically, the people who are part of a battle pair that has been severed have a difficult time, Arvi said. Like they have trouble getting used to life without the battle pair or something like that? I asked. More like they have difficulty because that sort of thing is usually severed while they're in the middle of pitched combat with some enemy or another, and death naturally follows for the other half of the battle pair quickly enough. Oh, I said. I guess that makes sense. So no worrying about pining away until I waste away to nothing if something happens to Veris. Exactly, Arvi said. Though if something happens to Veris, it's very likely that you will perish very shortly after. Got it, I said. Something to keep in mind. What are the two of you talking about? Veris asked. My likelihood of survival if somebody manages to kill you, I said. If it makes you feel any better, Arvi said through a probe that hovered down in front of us so he could have a conversation with both of us at the same time. Your chances of survival are far better than William's chances of survival should your battle pair be severed. The advantages of being the head honcho around here, I suppose, I said. Precisely, Arvi said. I looked over to where Olsen and the spider were standing and having a very heated conversation. The spider looked like she was reading him the riot act. In all fairness to Olsen, though, it looked like he was giving as good as he was getting. At the very least, he seemed to not be taking any of her shit for now. Is whatever's happening with those two something we need to worry about? I asked out loud in real time. I'm not sure, Veris said. We honestly don't have a lot of information about what happens when a battle pair is formed between a Terran and a Livisk. The fact that it's happened a second time with the cohort from your ship is interesting, but I don't know that it means anything. It could mean something, Arvi said. And at the same time, it could mean nothing. Precisely, Veris said. At the very least, I think it means you have an advantage with your plans for taking over the Undercity, Arvi said. I blinked as I turned to look at him. What makes you think I want to take over the Undercity? Please, Arvi said. We managed to fill an entire corridor through the Undercity with our troops once you decided to set things into motion. We always had the capability to do that, except for in the very opening hours of your difficulties around the reclamation mine. I suppose so, I said. Wait, you always had that capability? Veris said. Then why haven't we done anything like that before? Why hasn't anyone else ever done that before? Probably because most Livisk are so terrified of giving an inch to a combat intelligence that they never bothered to figure out if they could use that sort of thing to their advantage, I said. Please, William, Arvi said. You need to use appropriate terminology. What's that? I asked. You give them a centimeter. You need to use metric. Oh, sorry, I said. At least I didn't do it in Kellicams. And besides, it's an old turn of phrase from Earth. What on Leviska are the two of you even going on about? Veris asked, looking between the two of us. Just a little bit of banter back and forth, I said, looking over to the spider and Olsen. I think we need to give them a chance. You really think you can trust the spider? Veris asked. I don't think we can trust her at all, I said. Then why are you going to put her and this Terran fox in charge of things down here? I figure it's only a small portion of the Undercity around here they'll be dealing with, right? That is correct, Arvi said. And I figure we need to give Olsen a little bit of a chance to stretch and breathe. He's done a lot of really good work with everything that was happening in the reclamation mine. I don't know what happened to turn him from a worthless Nepo baby who was spending all his time day trading on the bridge in front of his captain, but I want to nurture whatever that change is. If it means throwing him at a hot alien babe to have adventures on a strange alien world, then that's fine with me. Are you sure you aren't projecting a little bit there? Arvi asked. What does projecting mean? Varys asked, frowning. It's a term of art from Earth. He's taking his current situation, going around and having adventures with a hot alien babe as he so eloquently put it, and he's putting that onto young Mr. Olsen. Look, the point is I think we need to give Olsen a chance here, I said. He's already done some rabble-rousing down here, and I figure with our support he might be able to do a little more. If we're going to be doing this sort of thing, then we need to have people we can trust to work all the angles. And one of the angles is that you want to take over the Undercity, Varys said, her voice flat. Yes. A prospect that even the Empress herself and many Empresses past haven't been able to pull off themselves. Of course, I said. Despite throwing the vast resources of the Empire at it. Well, I mean, we've already shown that the Empress isn't very good at throwing her vast resources at much of anything, considering the way we've managed to kick her ass every step of the way, I said. I have already been working on mapping large chunks of the Undercity and trying to get a feel for the various factions at work down here, Arvi said. I think that at the very least, we will be able to play some of those factions against one another and gain access to parts of the city we wouldn't otherwise be able to reach without getting shot down immediately. You would do the slice of you in my man cave proud, I said, grinning and shaking my head. It's going to be a very interesting day when I eventually have a conversation with that shard of my personality, Arvi said. You have no idea, I said. I missed having conversations with the shard of Arvi's personality that was isolated to my man cave. A term of art for the spot where I'd been initially held prisoner when Varys took me captive. It had been a bit since I'd been able to get in there and chat with him and go over planning. I'd talked about going into the reclamation mine and trying to get my crew out. That Arvi shard said the plan was reckless. That it would ruin all of our potential planning if I got myself killed doing some damned fool rescue mission when I should be concentrating on more important things. Like killing the Empress and deposing her, and then using the power vacuum as an excuse to move in and rescue my people. I had to admit the man cave shard of Arvi probably had a point now that I'd seen all of the craziness that had happened down here as a result of heading into the reclamation mine before we were entirely ready to take on the Empress, but whatever. Anyway, Arvi said. If we are going to do this, then we should do it. I don't trust the spider, Varys said. Neither do I said with a shrug. I figure that gives us an advantage. How could that possibly give us an advantage? Varys asked, blinking a couple of times as she stared at me. Think about it, I said. We're conspicuously and publicly putting our trust in somebody who we don't trust privately. Which is the opposite of what you should do, she said. But that means we have a little bit of street credibility with all the people we're going to be trying to get over to our side, I said. If the spider is along for the ride, then surely that means she either agrees with us, or at the very least she doesn't think it's a bad idea to work with us. I'm not sure that's going to work the way you think, William, Arvi said. Trust me. Hominid psychology is the same everywhere you go in the universe. What we look like on the outside might change from planet to planet, but how we think doesn't change all that much. We aren't that far removed from our ancient ancestors. Actually, William, there are a great deal of ancient descended species that have been catalogued by the Livisk Ascendancy, and a large number of them exhibit behaviors that are. I held up a hand to stop him before he could really get going on a tear. For a wonder, he went silent. Though his probe did bob up and down in obvious irritation. Look, just trust me on this one. Only Nixon can go to China, to quote a Vulcan proverb. What does that even mean? Varys asked. What's a Vulcan? It's a fictional species of logic in one of the humans' fascinating entertainments called Star Trek. I find Mr. Spock in particular to be I held up a hand to stop Arvi before he could go on a tear talking about Star Trek. Normally I wouldn't mind chatting about it with him, but this wasn't the time or the place. What it means is we're going to be sending people out to try and take over the Undercity. We don't want people living in the Undercity to realize that's what we're doing until it's too late. So we have one of their own down here to give us some of that credibility I was talking about. We'll spring a trap before they even realize what we're doing. And by the time they realize Olsen is the one who's actually in charge and running things, it's going to be too late for them. There was a pause. That's the dumbest fucking plan I think I've ever heard, Varys said. And you've come up with some pretty dumb fucking plans in the time we've been together. Yeah, I have come up with some pretty stupid plans, haven't I? I said, grinning as I thought about some of those plans coming to fruition. Whatever, Arvi said with a sigh. He's come up with some very stupid plans over the time we've been together, yes. But those very stupid plans have also had an odd propensity for working. I still think he's spinning a bunch of bullshit, Varys said. Very likely so, Arvi said. But if he feels like this Olsen and the Spider can work towards our goals and free us up to focus our resources elsewhere, then we should at least give them a chance. And if it all blows up in his face, then you'll at least get the satisfaction of telling William, I told you so. Is that supposed to make me feel better? Varys asked, rolling her eyes. I thought it would, Arvi said. That does seem like the kind of thing you'd enjoy, I said. She grinned. You're right. Now let's get to work on this stupid plan of yours. Join me on Patreon for early access. Read up to 6 weeks, 30 chapters, ahead. Free members get 5 advanced chapters. First chapter, previous chapter.